Don't expect all the sorts of incentives if you are planning to buy a car. AutoNation's CEO Mike Jackson says automakers won't go back to overproducing cars even after the chip shortage ends. We'll break down his earnings as well. This is Bloomberg.
What you are seeing is that the cars that are on the ground are moving very quickly. There's a lack of new vehicles, which is actually pushing people into the nearly new market on used vehicles. People didn't spend money in a good part of 2020, and as well as the first part of this year. So we've got customers that want to buy cars. We don't have the cars on the ground, and we got people flush with money. So it's kind of a great time to be a car dealer.
That was Bill Berman, Pendragon CEO, sells used and new cars over in the UK. Speaking to me and Guy on Friday about the industry. So staying with the used car world, AutoNation is the largest car dealer chain in the United States, beating estimates in second quarter revenue. Revenue coming in at just almost $7 billion. $7 billion, beating estimates of $6 billion. There you go. I can read the prompter on a Monday. And the stock is responding, up 2% on a terrible day for the markets. It's up over 130% so far in the past year as well. AutoNation's CEO Mike Jackson joins me now. Mike, it is quite impressive, these numbers, quite impressive your stock reaction on a terrible day for the equity market when everything seems to be selling off. So well done on the quarter.
Well, thank you very much. And there's two powerful forces in the marketplace. One, a consequence of the pandemic and shelter in place in America was a dramatic increase in demand for personal transportation, a personal vehicle. The American people want to go where they want to go, when they want to go, and decide who's with them. So we had a dramatic increase in demand. And then you combine that with AutoNation's powerful brand, our customer experience, our digital platform. And if you look at, for instance, our performance in pre-owned, I mean, our revenue was up 65% year over year with this powerful combination of a good marketplace and the AutoNation brand and capabilities.
So a huge part of the car story is obviously what's happening with chip shortages. And I wanted to get your understanding of how long you think that that's going to last for. We try to understand what transitory means in terms of inflation, and we look at cars and chips as a good indicator for that. Does transitory mean like 12 months, 6 months, 18 months, 2 years?
So first, I have to express my admiration for the manufacturers in the restart of the entire global supply chain for the automobile industry, a very complex situation. And then we get hit with the disruption on microchips. But to be clear, in the second quarter, our shipments are double what they were a year ago, double. And if you compare it against 2019, they're only off 6 or 7%. So it's been a huge effort. And the manufacturers have done a very good job of prioritizing what they produce, putting the chips in the highest demand vehicles. I mean, there's an epiphany of an idea. Let's build what people want to buy. So in that sense, it's been very healthy for the industry and a certain discipline that has cut off overproduction and the push situation. But the disruption from the chips will last into 2022. For sure. And I don't think the industry ever goes back to the old ways of overproduction and push. I think there's been some real valued lessons learned during this pandemic, which will be applied to the future that will be healthy for the industry.
So we're showing a chart right now, Mike, that shows used car prices and new car prices. And used car prices up like 40+%, and new car is just up, let's call it 10%. That's a huge difference, which is kind of bananas. Like, why am I going to go buy a used car when I can now get a new car cheaper? How long do you think that lasts as we're still trying to figure out the chip issue?
So the increase on new vehicle prices is very understandable from the manufacturer's point of view, in that they've reduced incentives. It's not that they raised prices, they reduced incentives. And so you're talking about what the net price is, and with the tremendous demand versus the fact that they can't produce more because of the chip shortages, why give out huge incentives? And that's what's causing them to rethink the whole push system. And maybe, I used to say, incentives are out of whack as to what they should be. On the pre-owned side, or at least for the second quarter, please bear in mind that you're comparing against declining values a year ago. Everybody was very pessimistic. Rental fleets were being liquidated. There was a lot of turmoil and disruption in the pre-owned marketplace. And now you have a much more stable situation versus then. So in that sense, it's transitory. So I think, though, this more demand than supply, demand has been dramatically increased as a result of a reprioritization of the household budget towards more space, more electronics in the home, and personal transportation. And I think that continues.
So, Mike, if you add these two things together, I wonder what this means for the used car market going forward in terms of the people that are selling their car. Does the value of these cars stay? Is it maintained to some extent to a level that we aren't used to? Or at some point, does the value of these cars that have a huge upside now just dramatically drop?
So my point of view is, first, the consumers are very smart, very shrewd. They see that the value of their trade-in at the moment is very high, or they sell it to us directly. And there could be a moderation on that next year. As far as our business, well, basically on pre-owned, we're an arbitrage business. We acquire it at a certain price, we recondition, speed the market, and then we have a retail price. So we will adjust our business to wherever pre-owned value goes, and this combination of having our brand, our USA footprint of specialty pre-owned stores will continue to grow regardless.
Mike, it was good to catch up with you. Guy Johnson's not here, so he can't make fun of the fact that I just bought a used car that I call Jasper. But Mike, good to catch up with you. Mike Jackson, AutoNation CEO, joining us.